Welcome to another long form episode of the Striation 6 podcast. I'm your host, Sam Trotta, and I hope you're ready for an interesting, informative exercise conversation to help you advance your health and feel, function, look, and live better through exercise for as long as possible. Please feel free to like and subscribe to the podcast, leave comments, leave feedback, leave topic suggestions. I want to hear from you, and I want to help. Enjoy yourself. Hey everyone, welcome to the Striation 6 podcast. I'm your host, Sam Trotta, and as it is with all my podcast episodes that I do, I want to bring you free information to help you feel, function, look, and live better through exercise and opportunely now, if that's a word, through nutrition coaching as well. And I have the distinct privilege today of hosting Jen Vasey, who is the CEO of Metabolic Balance Canada. I was going to say a little blip about metabolic balance, but there's no way I'd be able to do it the same service as Jen might be able to. So Jen, first, how the heck are you?
Awesome, Sam. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. It's always great to chat with you. So just to maybe get the folks up to speed out there who might be listening to this, can you tell us a bit about what metabolic balance is and how it came about?
Absolutely, I can. So, Metabolic Balance is it's a company that actually started by Dr. Wolf, fun fact, who's out of Germany. And so he actually started his research back in the 80s. And so he started his research in the 80s. He had his own practice. And so he, as a doctor, he was seeing patients and he started to really study those with metabolic syndrome. So hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes, obesity. And he really correlated their lab values. So what was happening, the chemistry happening in these individual patients. And then he started studying the chemistry of food. And he realized that by pairing the right nutrients, the right ratios of nutrients, and the right foods for his patients, he was actually able to reverse metabolic syndrome. And so he was predominantly just focusing on his patients and his practice. It later evolved to metabolic balance. And so as a metabolic balance practitioner, a lot of people seek the program for the weight management because it predominantly reduces inflammation, it supports stable blood sugar, it supports hormonal balance. And when you focus on those three key pieces, you will naturally achieve an optimal, healthy, sustainable body weight. And so the program is really designed and centered around health. So, health and wellness, longevity, quality of living. It is a very healthy, wholesome, holistic program. And then the bonus is achieving that sustainable weight management piece. And so to date, the program is managed, by dedicated physicians. It is still out of Germany, so the medical team of doctors still run it of Germany, but the program operates in 36 different countries. And so it's only run through accredited coaches, so those with a health and wellness, background who are able to deliver the program accordingly. And so the most important part of the program is that we run blood work. So we have a whole medical team. We run blood work on every single client so we can see exactly what's happening in their body. Imbalances, deficiencies, hormones, glucose level, inflammatory marker. We need to see what's happening with them so that we can then take all of that data, send it to the medical team, and create a personalized nutrition plan. The nice thing about the program is it's 100% whole food. So you're not on a greens subscription every month. It's not protein powders. It's not, supplements or injections. It literally is chemistry. It's really just understanding how to fuel your body according to its needs based on those imbalances and deficiencies. And that's how the program works.
So there's a lot in there. There's a lot of really useful and I think really valuable stuff in there. And the highly valuable part is what compelled me once I was by some kind of universe magic introduced to this program by a mutual friend of ours. And I've actually recently become a certified metabolic balance coach, and I'm just going through the process of onboarding my first few clients right now. And I was really excited. It's funny because I was actually looking for a way of adding nutrition into my practice and into my service offering here at Striation 6. And it was just sort of like I set that intention, and all of a sudden it was just shown to me. And the criteria in my mind was I wanted something that was evidence-based and backed by science, but was also relatively just that I'd be able to implement without going back to school for 2 years or something along those lines. And when I investigated the system, it satisfied all those requirements. I've got a few people on board right now. They're really excited to get started. I want to go back to what you said about it being health based. There's this this shift kind of in the fitness zeitgeist that I've become aware of recently, that the thoughts around weight loss are changing, I think, in a good way. Metabolic balance seems to reflect this in a really accurate way, or in a really aligned way. The idea that, it used to sort of be like, oh, you need to lose weight to be healthy. So people are desperately sort of like going on these super low calorie diets and becoming malnourished. Whereas instead, and again, as I said, I think this is reflected really well in metabolic balance, weight loss is a consequence of increased health. And I wonder if you could sort of speak to that as a nutritionist in a more in-depth way.
Absolutely. First off, I love how universally it was just delivered to you, right? It's so funny how
Yeah,
I really am just such a strong believer in how things unfold. Even people who are tuning in and listening now, it's like, why am I tuning in and listening to this specific episode? What does that mean for me?
right,
And so
right.
you're so right.
The wolf is
People,
watching over me.
yeah, yeah, I love it. And so I would say people that, we're a lot more tuned into, you're hearing a lot more buzz around longevity, vitality, quality of living. And so there were so many people that were struggling with their quality of life, right? They were maybe entering programs that, like you mentioned, were significantly calorically reduced. They're not providing them with adequate nourishment. And we're seeing how this is affecting humans as a species, how it's affecting, our digestive system, our hormone production. Everything is thrived by nourishment. And so with the metabolic balance program, it's not about that at all. You're actually eating three really, really nourishing, well balanced meals every single day. And so my clients absolutely love the program because they're fueling their body, but they feel so much better. So when you're actually supplying your body with the right nutrients, and so a lot of the feedback is, okay, great, the weight's coming off. I love that piece. But it's like, oh my goodness, I have more energy than I've ever had before. My quality of sleep is better. I've resumed a regular menstrual cycle, which is something because I deal with a lot of hormonal women.
Sure.
There's just so many pieces to quality of life and our quality of health that we're focused on. The other piece that clients gravitate so much towards the program is that it is truly personalized. So there's never any two plans that are the same, because so many people have tried cookie cutter programs, right? Or they've tried to approach it that maybe worked for their neighbor, but it certainly isn't going to work for them because they have different makeup and they have different genetic needs. And so the personalization of it is really what makes the program so effective.
I'd agree. I'd agree. And what I've seen so far of myself, frankly, just being into, I guess I'm into sort of phase three of my own program now. There are four phases to any metabolic balance program, and I'm into phase three. So the more effortful part where you're sort of really hunkering down and sticking to your food plan for me is passed, and I get to implement some of the things that I enjoy. Again, I'm not that I don't enjoy the food that's on the plan, but it now becomes more expansive. I get to add in, some treats every now and again. And the thing I'm finding is whenever I deviate too far from the plan, I just don't feel as good. I just don't feel as good. And I was struck in those first 2 weeks on the plan. Like I just as a reference for professional curiosity, I tracked the macros of my plan, and it was significantly less food than I had been eating. I think it was a little under 2,000 calories a day, and I was struck by how nourished I felt on what for me is so little food. It's sort of 60% calorie wise of what I've been eating, but things you don't consider every now and again. My plan says eat 150 grams of vegetables at every meal. And sort of think, okay, it's not that, I eat 200 grams of steak, no problem. What does 150 grams of raw vegetables actually look like? It's a lot of food. Like it's just a lot of food volume, and there's a lot of nutrition in there. And I think the personalized nature of it, getting my body the nutrients that it needs versus sort of a generalized, um, shot in the dark at what I might need from a. I mean, I'm eating things I haven't eaten in years. Like I haven't, nightshade. I haven't eaten peppers in a really, really long time, and all of a sudden I'm enjoying these. I grew up eating peppers, and I haven't eaten them in so long because they're supposed to be inflammatory, and I'm enjoying them and thriving on them. And also when I do have treats, and this is I think a big thing for a lot of people, might be a big thing for a lot of people. When I do have a treat meal, it doesn't negatively affect me like it used to. Stomach upset's pretty much gone.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so in terms of like healthy, balanced, enjoyable life where you can thrive in your body and actually enjoy yourself, I mean, it's really hitting the bullseye.
Yeah, and I mean, what you're really speaking to is the power of stable blood sugars, right? It's like where you have the right ratios of nutrients that you feel really well nourished. And for those listening, yes, it is a little bit more restrictive in just those first couple of weeks. I call that the metabolic reset. Well, we're really reducing inflammation, we're supporting your digestive enzymes. But then, like you said, then we start to expand. We start to add in more foods, and you can expand on your portions and cooking oils and condiments and treat meals, because the most important part of this program is long-term sustainability. And you can only achieve long-term sustainability if you can also live real life, knowing that you do have the ability to go out, a party, an event, a date night, whatever that looks like. And you start to be able to implement those. But you implement it with structure where, you know what, I'm focused on my health and wellness the majority of the time without,
Hmm.
fully sacrificing some of these things that I love. But like you said, when you improve your gut health, you support digestive enzymes, you do these pieces with the right foods, then all of a sudden, yeah, you go off, and you don't get the impact that maybe you once would. But also you start to become a little bit more mindful as to what's worth it, right? And over
Yeah.
time, you just naturally build habits. So the program has, kind of the daily habits that we integrate into your life. And before you know it, this is just how you eat. This is just what you eat and when you eat. It's really about the education. It's taking time to learn what works for your body, see the impact and how it makes you feel. And then, of course, knowledge is power. You just use that knowledge that you've now acquired as you move forward.
Yeah, it sort of makes me think of that trajectory from what do they say, like unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence to conscious competence to unconscious competence. And it's sort of like
That's
I feel
it.
like I'm getting to a point now where I'm somewhere between conscious incompetence and conscious competence, where like I'm in that space where all of a sudden it's like there's something in front of me and it's delicious and sometimes I'll have it, and then there's been other times where I just sort of say it's not worth it right now.
Yeah.
Like, and it's
Okay.
not, and therefore the best part about this for me, and the reason I'm so excited to bring it to people, is it's therefore not restrictive.
Yes.
It's about enabling better choices, or let's say a different set of choices that net out to potentially a more healthy outcome. So now all of a sudden, rather than framing it in terms of like, oh, that was bad that I ate that whatever thing that I would normally eat. Oh, I deviated from the plan. Oh, I got to get back on. It's just like, no, you what choice did we make here? Okay, let's move on.
Yep.
Let's just move forward. Let's get to the next healthy thing.
That's exactly it. My clients tell me that all of the time. I would have clients where they're like, in the past, if I deviated in the slightest degree, oh my goodness, I ruined it, it's over. Then, they just kind of go down that slippery slope where it's like, okay, sure, I deviated, I had little something, but that doesn't mean that doesn't change tomorrow's decisions or, my future outcome. And so I always tell people the all in or all out mentality does not work. We know that it doesn't work because
Yeah.
then that exactly happens. The moment that we deviate, oh, we're all in, we're all out. No, we need to find balance, and we need to find a balance that's sustainable and a balance that works for you. So you're still focused on those pieces we just talked about, your longevity, your health, your quality of life, but not completely removing some of those things that you like to piece into your life as well. So it's really just about finding sustainable balance.
So I mean, you and I've sort of had this conversation before, but for people out there who like, I found your story quite interesting because you've been a nutritionist for I can't remember how long, but I know you've been with Metabolic Balance since 2020.
Yeah.
And you went from, okay, 2020, I'm going to check this thing out, to 2025, I'm the CEO,
Yeah.
kicking ass and taking names when it comes to metabolic balance, leading people like me through the program quite wonderfully, if I may say so, just with my experience working with you. How do you go from, okay, I'm this thing, and all of a sudden I get introduced to this sort of different approach to a system, and now I'm the CEO?
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, yeah, I had no clue what was going to unfold when I first, took the leap and became a metabolic balance coach, but I'm beyond grateful for every day. So yeah, I've been in the health and wellness space for almost 20 years. So I've done it all, nutritional consults, food sensitivity testing, worked in health food stores. I was in the fitness industry for a long time, personal trainer. I was a GM of a fitness club in 2020. So GM of a fitness club, fitness clubs closed down,
Hmm.
probably longer than anything else closed down. And so I really saw that as an opportunity to, when I was working, 50, 60, whatever hour weeks, it's like to nothing. I saw it as an opportunity to take this course that had been on the back of my mind for so long. So I took the metabolic balance course, and my intention was just to work with some friends and family who were struggling through the pandemic until I went back to work. And needless to say, the results were profound. And these were the people closest to me. Like, again, I was working with friends and, and their moms, my mom, like just all of a sudden they're like, they just couldn't believe how great they were feeling, results that they were achieving that they'd been trying to achieve for 20 years. And they're like, they were just blown away by the program. So when the world started opening up, I was like, I knew I couldn't do anything else. I was like, I have to continue to deliver this program. So I resigned from my very full-time corporate job. I continued to deliver the program. Over time, I really came up with my system, I guess you could say. So exactly how I onboard a client, how many meetings a client gets, the accountability check-ins weekly, and I created, documents, welcome guides, everything that they needed. And so then I started working a little bit more closely with head office to say I really kind of developed a system here. And I think in order for me to support more people, it's not about me personally onboarding more and more clients, but if I can actually help more and more coaches onboard more clients, then that's actually how I have a wider reach with such an impactful program. So I started working a little bit more closely with head office on coach support. And needless to say, that's really what evolved to here. So I became the CEO of Metabolic Balance Canada in January of this year. Yeah, and so the previous CEOs, we still work very closely together, but she moved back to Germany. So she actually brought the program from Germany to Canada in 2011. She moved back to Germany, so it really also just made sense to have to be present in Canada, to be located here. And so yeah, so here we are. So my primary focus again is to support coaches like you, so to have every resource they need, so that they can deliver the program effortlessly, seamlessly to their clients, and just really teach clients, because I find that that's the biggest piece that people are struggling with, is we're bombarded by so much internet information. This is good, this is not good, but it's like there, that's it's personalized. It's like, well, what's going to be good for me? What do I need to learn about my body? And once you learn, that's the other piece I love about the program, is that I want my clients to become independent from me, right? I don't want you dependent on buying this product. Or it's like, I actually just want to teach you. And then once you know, you have that knowledge forever. It doesn't mean that you don't go on vacation or deviate, but you always know what to come back to. You know how to ground yourself because you've learned it, you've implemented it, you know what works. And so that's the other piece I really love about what we do.
Yeah, it's really interesting, just the whole idea of like what works. There was this sort of throwaway expression I found people were using a lot where it's you have to do what works for you. And I feel like more often than not, it was used as an excuse for to like not change anything you're doing. Because like, oh, this works for me. Like, what does work mean? Like you're still feeling terrible, you're type 2 diabetic, and but like you enjoy the food you enjoy. I don't know if that works,
Right.
right? Based on your condition. It's not for me to say, but I don't know if you're being 100% honest with yourself. The people who meant it had to go through this really rigorous kind of trial and error process. And what I like about this program, what I like about the metabolic balance program is there's this data and this science around your blood work that says, hey, in all likelihood, this is going to work. Like here, if you want to do what works for you, just do this. And then after you do this for a while, really strictly, and for a while, I mean 16 days or 14 days before, after the 2 day initiation, phase one, then you can actually try out other things and implement more foods. And you can genuinely figure out for yourself what works for you based on how you feel and what happens to your body when you eat certain foods.
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden we've got a framework, like we've got a platform to see what works for me. And I think that's really valuable.
I always am able to tell clients, I can say, you will have noticeable shifts and changes, not only in your body composition, but how you feel within the first week. And
Yeah.
so if you can commit, okay, committing to that first week is so powerful. Like you said, the first 16 days is the reset. But what you achieve and what you feel is literally within a week. And it's rapid results. It's a very results driven program. It's scientifically backed to be effective. That's all the motivation that a client needs to go, oh my goodness, I feel amazing. This is working. One more
Yes.
week, and I start to get to bring in even more freedom and flexibility. Like it's so doable, especially when you're working with clients who have tried everything, right? And nothing seems to be effective, nothing seems to work, nothing is sustainable. So when you deliver rapid results, oh my goodness, they're so happy, so motivated, so excited. Finally, a science-backed program for me that works. Yes, please.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting because it falls in line with some of the other stuff we do here at the gym where like we do this work with people's bodies where we help them move better and feel better. And it often helps, even though I cannot say nor would I say that I treat pain. Uh, Often when we do what we do here, it helps people with pain. And most of my clients that come in and see me are people who have literally tried everything else. Like there's a lady I saw over 10 years ago from Barrie who's coming back into the city from Barrie because she's literally been to physios, like she's been to this litany of different practitioners nearby, and she wants to do what works. And I think that it's like the task for me with metabolic balance is, without bravado, I think to communicate to anybody who might be looking at my website or listening to something like this that this works. You just have to be willing to engage with it and participate. And as long as you're willing to do that, you're going to see excellent results. You're going to see excellent results.
Absolutely. It's such a highly results-driven program. It's extremely effective. And I mean, the program was originally designed, like I said, for those who were suffering with metabolic syndrome, right? So we talked about diabetics, high cholesterol, so on and so forth, and obesity, which is a common one. But I will say it's heavily evolved for those with hormonal conditions. So someone like myself who has PCOS, a lot, a lot of those working through it with perimenopause or menopausal symptoms,
Sure.
and also digestive issues. I work with a lot of clients with IBS, Crohn's, like things that just continuously seem to be evolving because unfortunately we do have a toxic environment. We have a broken nutrition system. And so
Sure.
it's our responsibility to learn how to work within it, right? If we can't change all components of it, how can I work within it? And like you said before, it's when people really do start listening to the signals in their body. So that's what I'll usually say. I'm like, when you're listening to the signals in your body and it's saying, I can't do this anymore, like this isn't a good direction. I know I need change, but I don't know what that change looks like. That's
Right.
the metabolic balance program. That's the education that you want, that you deserve to give to yourself.
And just to be clear, those conditions you mentioned, like PCOS and Crohn's and IBS, you're not treating those per se. We're implementing the diet and people are seeing positive changes in those conditions.
Exactly, exactly. So if you're still working alongside a medical professional who is,
Yes.
going to, then wonderful. But for people to significantly alleviate those symptoms or have improvements with any of those types of conditions, the program is extremely beneficial.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot, Jen. Is there anything else you would want people to know about the metabolic balance program, whether it's potential coaches or people in the audience who might want to undertake the program just as a participant? Did we miss anything?
I would say that, Sam, you have been a very, very active and involved coach right from the beginning, just like really, really absorbing the education. So there's the science behind the program, how it evolved. I could tell immediately how gravitated you were towards understanding the science and understanding the program. So for those who are listening who want to learn more, I would say reach out to Sam and learn more about what the program can do for you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time today. And again, as I've said to you before, thank you for your leadership through the educational process. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully bringing lots of people towards better health through metabolic balance.
You absolutely will. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your day and see you on the next episode.